Welcome to the Business of Dance podcast, where you'll learn what it takes to create your dream professional dance career.
Join us as we dive into the insights and experiences of the world's top dance industry professionals, including dancers, choreographers, agents, casting directors, educators, and other dance industry experts.
We explore a diverse range of topics, from personal development and mental skills to audition techniques, creating meaningful industry connections, social media marketing, seeking out dance agents and casting opportunities, on-the-job etiquette, talent unions, pitching to the media, health, finances, and so much more.
Here is your host, Menina Fortunato.
Well, I am very excited about today's guest. She's actually somebody that I've known for a very long time, since she was in high school. She is actually an alumni of the Hollywood Summer Tour from many years ago. In fact, we were trying to remember how long ago it was, and I think it was 2011. Growing up, she was a dancer competitively. That's when I met her, during that phase of her life. And now she is a director and fashion designer. She's originally from Ontario and a small town, and now she lives in Los Angeles. She is the co-founder of Spaced Visuals, which is a creative studio known for music videos and cinematic campaigns, and working with global brands and artists like Usher, Chris Brown, Megan Stallion, Meghan Trainor, Masego, PUMA, Coca-Cola, TikTok, SoundCloud, etc. She's the founder and creative director of Valente, a luxury fashion label recognized for their cinematic storytelling and handcrafted collection. In 2021, Valente has designed custom stagewear for almost anything and everything KATSEYE that you may have seen on the Grammys, on Coachella, on the tour. She's created custom looks for Paris Hilton. Her designs have also been worn by Jordan Sparks, Tori Kelly on Good Morning America, Rhea Raj, WNBA champion Jackie Young, Atsuko for the Emmy Awards. And whether she's directing a campaign, designing a collection, or shaping an artist's creative era, she brings together film, fashion, and brand strategy to create visual identities in multiple mediums. Please help me welcome Angelica Valente. Welcome, welcome.
Hello.
What a full circle moment. I'm literally producing the Hollywood Summer Tour right now. We're
crazy.
literally in rehearsals, and that's how we met. It's
So crazy.
Summer Tour.
Feels like forever ago.
It was probably a lifetime ago for you, especially because
It's
you were
like
just a
3 lifetimes ago. Yeah.
comp kid when I met you.
Yes.
Remind me, were you a Thunder Bay kid?
I was. Yep.
Yep. So any Canadians, if you guys know Thunder Bay, it's a little small town in a very cold part of Ontario.
Yes. 100%.
Did I ever teach you in Thunder Bay? Because I remember going to some conventions of 5, 6, 7, 8 Showtime. Were you ever at those?
I think you taught me once at like one of the 5, 6, 7, 8s. Yeah. I think it was right before then I did your program. I'm pretty sure.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Well, let's start at the beginning, because I'm a part of the early years, but not the total beginning. So let's talk about that little girl in Thunder Bay. When did she start dancing? Take us on a journey, the short version, of course.
Yeah.
Let's talk about other things of how you started in dance, and take us to the move to LA. What brought you to LA?
Honestly, it started when I was like 3 or 4. My brother was actually in dance and I wanted to copy everything he did. So that's just how I got into it. I actually quit for a year and tried figure skating, and I was like, that's way too cold. What am I doing? So I just ended up going back to dance. Honestly, I didn't really step into myself until I found like hip hop and acro. And those came way later. They came like closer to 10, 11, just because we didn't have it at our studio. We were training in like ballet, tap, jazz, musical theater, point, basically everything under the sun. And then when I found hip hop, that's when I was like, oh, I loved it. I loved the energy of it, and also the fashion of it. It just like all began to click. Like, this is, something I see myself doing. And then we started doing a bunch of conventions, and I started getting like pointed out in class. And I felt like, okay, this is the direction I should be on. I felt like my path was like aligning there. Yeah, then acro came in and that kind of like molded together my whole kind of style. And then I instantly, during competitions at first, like never got recognized. And I think those moments when I first like started getting recognized, I actually got a trip to LA with a different company. And it was crazy because I hadn't been winning really. And like that trip to LA really changed my life. I instantly got there and I was like, okay, this is where I want to move. And I was what, like 13 or something? My mom's like, oh, great. What has been unlocked here? Again, it was everything. It wasn't just the dancing. It was the creativeness. It was the energy. It was the fashion. Like, I just loved the industry, really. I was figuring out the photo shoots. And so then I did your program. So I was like, get me back to LA. So then I did your program. And I also did a program in New York. And at the time I was like, that's not for me because I was just like figuring it out. Then at the end of high school, like the last year, I was like, had my mind made up and I was searching for colleges myself. And I knew like to get there, I was like, let me go as a student first, just so that I can get my foot in the door. It would be easier to transition as an international student. I don't know. I was thinking smart at 17, I guess, or 16 when I started the process. I wrote the SATs like by myself in this random auditorium. And I basically like just did everything I could to get to LA. And then I got into like one of my favorite colleges, and that had like an amazing dance program. It was called Loyola Marymount University. So then I packed my bags, and at 17, I left to LA.
And you never looked back, or
I never did, and I'm still in love with it.
Wow. So how long ago since the move?
I was 17, so 13 years ago.
13 years ago. Wow.
Yeah.
Well, it's amazing. It's amazing how one trip can like really change the trajectory of your future, and like that moment at such a young age too, that you decided that this is what I want to do. This is where I want to be. You didn't really have clarity, it sounds like, at the moment, but you knew in your heart it was pulling you here. I had the same kind of epiphany after a trip to LA when I was 16, so I can totally relate. So initially, what did you go to school for, and what was the original plan? Because I feel like where you are now was, at least I was not expecting it. When I found out you were the designer, I was like, hold up, what? I didn't know this was going on in your world. Clearly, my feed was not showing your stuff until you started working with KATSEYE. And I think, I don't know if Randy Martinez, who's also an alumni of this program, who's on tour with you and with KATSEYE. And I was like, wait a minute, you guys know each other? I'm like, whoa, trip me out here. So, what did you go to school for? And how did you even transition? Like, because you, I think, initially came here for dance, no? Am I mistaken? Yep. But then how did you get sidetracked in a different direction? How did that all happen?
Yeah. So I went to school for dance and like I always loved it, but there just like was something in me that, okay, I want to go for this, but it's like, I know that it's kind of like not just a stepping stool, but just, I knew that I wanted to expand even into creative direction. So while I was in college, we would have guest teachers come in, and there was some, I forget who exactly it was, but there were some people that were choreographer, creative directors. And that really sparked my interest because I also I grew up doing musicals. I grew up like with a huge like fashion sense. Like everyone always was like, what are you wearing? I want to steal your clothes, da, da, da. And so creative direction, like really, I was like, ooh, like I want to be able to like touch more than just the dancing. My mom's also was directing musicals at the time. So I grew up watching her pick the sets and pick the outfits and pick the location and that like everything. And I loved that, just like world building. So in college, I dipped my toes in like musical theater. I took a fashion class, and then we did have like one of the biggest film schools and like most prestigious, but I never took a film class. I was just like, whatever. And I had all film friends too, which is so interesting. But then I took a dance, and it was like dance for film. And we had to pick up a camera. We had to learn settings and learn how to film and learn how to edit. And I just became like obsessed with editing. And then at my last year for my thesis, I decided to do a thesis on creative direction. And so my brother's an artist. And so I was like, I'm going to take all your songs and make a tour. And so I did a live stage show with dancers. I brought in different choreographers. I styled everybody. We had a live DJ and visual DJ. It was just like this whole thing. And so that, and in my thesis, I talked about like doing creative direction and having my own fashion line and everything. So I think like during college, I got like introduced to all these things. And I was like, oh, I see myself expanding beyond dance, but I still wanted to pursue dance, which I did after college. But at the same time, I was also, my last year, I started assisting Kesha's stylist. So that was my first world into fashion. I was a stylist assistant.
And how did you get into that? I mean, Kesha is not exactly a small name.
I literally have no idea. That was my first job. It must have been through like a connection at my school. Somebody knew somebody and got me in. I have no idea how I became this girl's assistant. It was the summer. It was right after I graduated, actually. And then at the same time, I was like, I need to stay here. I need to figure out what I'm doing for my O1. And so I did decide to like really hone in on dance for many years after college. But at the same time, I was still picking away at other things to then build what I'm doing now.
Let's touch on the O1 because you were on a student visa. We have some international dancers. You were on a student visa initially. Did you do an OPT right after?
Yep.
And then how did you get the O1? Did you do it for dance? And
I did.
Was your petitioner, and how to explain that whole process?
Yeah. So right after I graduated, I was like, nobody talked to me. I locked myself into any coffee shop I could find and just started grinding of like, hey, how can I do this? So I actually maybe cheated the system a bit, but I actually got my because OPT, you have to work in your field of study for a certain amount of hours per week. You have to be secure. And dance at first is not secure. So I was like, how am I going to do this? Like, what? And so I actually became a yoga teacher, and that worked because it was like some movement.
It's movement.
Yeah.
Yoga, they go hand in hand.
Exactly. And then the class, I started teaching some like dance, like yoga for dancers, like kind of stuff like that. But that's how I initially got my OPT. And then from there, I was like, hey, right away, I was like, I need an agent. So from when I graduated, even before, I was like pushing for an agent. Went to every audition I could, was emailing anything I could do. And then I ended up getting GTA, and not even, I think like 8 months after I graduated. And then they were my petitioner for my O1 visa.
Amazing. So then you got the deal memos and letters of references and all that stuff.
Yes.
Did I write you a letter?
You wrote me one too. Yeah.
I was going to say, I've written so many letters. That's right. I was like, I think I wrote a letter for you, didn't I?
Yeah. I had to look back and see, I'm like, oh yeah, you did. Yeah. At the very beginning. That's why I'm like, I always tell people go for it. Cause somebody told me like, just go for it. And I was like, I have no real jobs under my belt, but it's really all about working the system in a way, just because like they don't even know what dance is, these lawyers. Like you have to really just like make your connections and build your case out of nothing.
It's all marketing and presentation at the end of the day, because an immigration officer at the end of the day is going to determine your fate. And they don't know anything about dance.
No.
If you look grander than ever on paper, they're going to judge that. And and it's all about the presentation part. So, okay, so you got the O1 visa for dance. Was that like a 3-year visa?
3-year, yep.
And were you heavily pursuing dance in that time, or was fashion already starting to creep in?
I was heavily pursuing dance still, because that was, 2016, 2018. Yeah, I was heavily doing dance, but at the same time in like 2017, that's when I started to really take a little bit more steps in the fashion world as well, and like just go out and style more people. People kept coming to me. That's like, it just was like a thing that I was like, okay, I have to be doing this. Like it's like coming towards me. So I just wanted to keep exploring like what that is as well. So on the sides, I would be doing like styling some photo shoots and teaching yoga. And because I then fell in love with yoga, I'm like, another thing. So I just had a bunch of passions that I was like, how can I do them all? But right now, I was pigeonholed into only getting paid for being a dancer, which at the time like frustrated me. But I think it was good because it really made me focus and like just try dance for for 3 years or even more. I kept doing it after that as well.
And eventually, did you have to renew the O1 or did you pivot in a different direction or go to the green card? And now you're married. You just got, congrats, by the way.
Thank you.
You marry an American? Are you now a citizen?
I married an American, but really that had nothing to do with my visa. I was like, I did this on myself. So
same. I did all my immigration stuff before I got.
Then I started booking things and I was like, oh, this next one's going to be much more of a breeze. I was in Disney Descendants movie. And that was like a really good one for my next O1 and just some other music videos. So yeah, then I renewed my O1, but at the same time, I started my green card application as well.
Okay.
So I almost did them both at the same time. I don't know. It was like the weird timing of things. And it was also COVID. So that was...
that was a weird time for everybody.
Yeah, a lot of people were like, I'm not signing this. We don't even know what tomorrow is. And I'm like, just sign the paper. Like tomorrow's going to happen at some point. So...
So now are you a permanent resident or are you working?
Permanent residence. Yeah. I just have to get now I just qualified for citizenship.
So if you want to apply, you can.
It was like 5 years after my green card. So now anytime I could go for my citizenship.
Well, congrats. I know firsthand how much work it is just to get the right to work, guys. Americans, you have no idea because you're born the right to work. For the international dancers, there's a lot of extra stuff that goes in. Just earning the right to work. Forget that getting the job part.
Yeah. But I will say that's like truly what gave me my whole work ethic because I had no choice. And it really showed me like, oh, I want to be here in LA. I want to be in the industry because like you can easily give up at that point for sure. But that to me gave me like all of my work ethic because I would just sit by myself and gather everything I could and then connect with so many people and get evidence here and try to connect with this person. And like it really and kept me organized too. So now like I also produce the music videos and commercials we work on. So that like gave me all those skills too.
So let's talk about that. What are you doing today? Because you've got the production company and the producing stuff with major brands, but then you've got your own fashion line, but then you're also styling and going on tour with KATSEYE. Like, what is going on with your life?
I love it. So yeah, then I met my partner around like 2017 and we both were like, we want to do more than just dance. And that's when 2017, we started our production company, Space Visuals, which really like, I didn't really know much. Like we just jumped in there. We're like, let's do this. We had a ton of creatives around. He knew a bunch of DPs and gaffers, and I knew a bunch of stylists and makeup artists and dancers and choreographers. So we're like, we can do music videos. Let's do it. So we just dove in head first and started working for like really small artists. And then all of a sudden we got a Chris Brown music video that fell into our lap somehow. And then that kind of like took off with our production company. So we've been doing commercials and music videos ever since. And now my main role in the company, I still like executive produce and I'll produce here and there. But mainly I'm directing and running the whole company. And then my partner directs with me and then he edits everything. And then we bring on like up to, 30 plus people on set with all of our productions. And then during COVID, I was bored and I was like, why am I waiting to start a clothing brand? I was still styling and I was like, I always wanted to have a clothing brand. So yeah, during COVID, I just, again, dove in, didn't go to school for fashion. I YouTube University over here and just did it. And I started a clothing brand.
How does one even start a clothing brand? Like explain that whole process.
Yeah. Well, first I got branded. I really wanted like a really strong brand presence. So I like got my logo. My mom's maiden name is Valente. So that's why I go by Angelica Valente now. And then that's the brand name Valente. So I wanted really strong branding. At first, I just did printing on stuff. I didn't do like full cut and sew. And then I did, since I have my whole production company, I got to do amazing photos and videos and I knew how to like advertise myself. So that's really, I just dropped my first collection. And then the next one right after that, I went full cut and sew. And I designed everything and then worked with a production house in downtown LA and got everything cut and sewed from scratch.
So do you sew as well?
No.
So
I
you
just design everything.
and then they put it together and sew it together.
Yes, exactly.
That is wild. And now, are you strictly online, or do you have your product in stores, or what is your status on that?
I have one store in Toronto that I'm
Okay.
in. Yeah, and then I'm in like 3 different showrooms in LA, so that kind of works best for my stuff since they're more like staged, they're more extravagant pieces, and then the rest of everything is online.
And how can one buy one of your outfits? Or
www.valenteworld.com.
valenteworld.com. Amazing. Okay, so then talk to me about this whole KATSEYE, because that's what caught my attention online. I was like, huh? I was like, you're on tour with KATSEYE? And then to know that because you design for the dancers and for the singers?
Yes.
Everybody on stage is all designed by you. All the
sometimes mostly for KATSEYE, it's been a mix. Like I do a mix of mostly it's always the dancers, and then they'll be like, oh, KATSEYE needs a jacket. They need jackets for this one. Oh, they need every time they perform in those Gabriella skirts, those are us. We have made probably over 300 of those skirts, and we're just about to do 30 more this week. So I'm going to be in the studio all week. So let's see. We were working with this stylist, and she was like pulling from Valente. She pulled for Tori Kelly, and then I got hit up for the Paris Hilton customs, and then I think she probably saw that and hit me up and was like, "Oh, can you do?" I think it was for their first like tour in November. She was like, "Can you do?" I think it was 8 dancers, 2 looks each, and duplicates because it's tour plus like 30 skirts again. It was something like crazy. And I was like, yes, of course. I've never done that big of a production run with Valente ever. So I was like, you know what? I've done it on small scales. And I was like, what do you got to do? You just got to multiply everything, multiply the amount of people. We got this. So I said yes. And that was November. And then I've been doing their stuff ever since then. So then we did the Grammys. Then we did their Latin America tour. We just did their Gov Ball stuff and got to make them custom jackets. All their like I Love New York. And everything's always like the tightest timeline. We had to make those jackets in like 2 days over a weekend with the holiday. And it was like crazy. So yeah, it's always like the tightest timeline and just so fun though.
So how big is your team that's like behind the scenes sewing all this stuff in like record time?
Yeah. I think like the most people I've had in the room at once was probably like 8 seamstresses plus me. And yeah, they kind of trade off like whoever's available. But in general, I probably have like now probably 15 that I can pull from. So yeah, it's crazy. And I literally got my studio like 2 years ago, and I was like, I just want to get a studio. I don't know why. I was like called to having a place to work. And then right after that, I started getting so many stylist pulls coming to like rent from me and custom orders. And if I didn't have that studio, I wouldn't be able to do that because now everybody could come there and sew there. And I have all my pieces. So it was just like a lesson for me of like, if you get pulled to something, like do it because you don't know why the universe is like putting that in front of you, So to me, that like opened the door to all of those experiences.
Would the little girl in Thunder Bay imagine you'd be doing this today? Like,
she would have for sure, but like realistically,
just went on tour. Like, seriously though, do you ever have those moments where you pinch yourself and like, this is beyond my wildest dreams?
100%. I think me and my partner, we love to just like zoom out and really be like, look at what we're doing. But it does get hard because then you're just like, ooh, what's next? And what's next? And I need to be better. And that could have been better. And but I think that's the key to happiness is being able to zoom out and realize how far you've come and that like you're doing amazing. So yeah, it's hard because I'm like always in my head, like, what I'm not doing enough, and that's probably gotten me to where I am. But at the same time, yeah, it's healthy.
So I can understand that. Once you hit a goal, you're like, okay, what's next? What's the next
goal?
You're always striving for more. But at what point do you actually say and stop?
Mm-hmm.
I'm happy with where I'm at right now. But it's okay to want more. There's nothing wrong with wanting more. But it is, if you haven't taken a moment, a hot minute, take today to be like, look at this full circle moment. Hollywood Summer Tour. You were one of these kids that are literally in rehearsals right now downstairs in the hotel lobby. And now you're talking about going on tour with KATSEYE and, styling Paris Hilton and blah, blah, blah. And they got this own fashion design. That's pretty cool. And the fact that you're a small town girl, because where all of these things just feel completely unattainable. Like it just sounds like what happens in people's in the movies. Like it doesn't happen in real life. And I think, Angelica, you're a beautiful example of that. It can happen. It does happen. But one thing, though, I can already tell just by the way you've been speaking is you're hungry and you're ambitious and you take risks and you're bold and it seems like you just dive in, whether you ready or not, here we go.
Yes. Yeah. And we did that with our production company too, honestly, with the Chris Brown one and everything. But really at the end of the day, when are you fully ready? You have to experience it. You could, even if you go to school for it, it's you're not actually experiencing it. So you're never actually, when they say you're never fully ready, it's true. You're never fully ready. You just have to dive into those. And those first ones, I mean, it's still nerve wracking, of course, but I definitely think if you're not nervous and not anxious, but if you're not nervous, you might not be doing enough. I'm happy that I don't feel comfortable. I don't really want to feel comfortable.
Well, it's funny you say that because one of the first parts of their lessons here in Business of Dance, one of the quotes in the first mindset lesson, anybody remember? Get comfortable being uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you're not uncomfortable, it means you're not growing, because growth is uncomfortable, literally and figuratively. When you're a kid and you're growing, it's uncomfortable. You have sore muscles. When you're growing your mind, it's uncomfortable because your brain is all going a mile a minute. When you're a dancer and you're stretching, it's uncomfortable because you're stretching your body a little past your limit. Growth is uncomfortable, and greatness only can happen from growth. So it sounds like you've stretched yourself a lot, creatively, mentally, in so many ways. But I just want to give you your flowers and say I'm so proud of you. It's so amazing that you found your own lane, even if it wasn't exactly what you imagined. But that's the cool part.
Yeah.
Is that dance was the vehicle that got you to where you are today. And I think that's an important lesson too for the dancers, is that, I mean, how many times did you hear, Angelica, especially from Thunder Bay? Oh, dance. Yeah, you can't have a career in dance. Oh yeah, that won't last. But what people don't realize is the dance can be the vehicle that gets you to the next destination. And sometimes it's actually the next destination that might even be better than what you originally thought of. And you still get to be in dance in a different capacity now.
Still to this day, on both ends, for my production company, because we always have to write treatments and pitch, and we will win the pitch because we have a dance background, because we did a TikTok campaign, for the actual brand TikTok. And because we knew movement, TikTok was we want them as directors. So it has followed me. And I think movement in general is literally what being a director is. You need to know how to tell people how to move. So dance is it definitely still is just embodied in everything I do. And even, designing for KATSEYE's dancers, I know how they're going to need to move and what's comfortable and what's not. And so, that helps me. And I think in general, just being a dancer, you learn so much mindset and so much discipline. And I think that is also what you carry into anywhere you go. And if it is dance, there's so many, once you get more into the dance industry, there's so many opportunities. You could go so many different directions. And sometimes that's not fully visible for you, but it's there is just unlimited. And even if you go into choreographer, movement director, it's truly unlimited. So
no, you're a beautiful example of that, because I think a lot of people think that dance is just performing and then you just end there. There's, as you say, it's an intersection to so many other directions you can go into, and you don't necessarily know what's at the end of the road until you start just moving the wheels.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And once you get there, you're oh, I didn't know this existed. This is cool.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, and you have to, I think what helped me is I stayed a little bit fluid. Once I got my O1, I was okay, I could be a little more fluid with what I'm doing and what's coming to me. I think it's important. I am a journaler. Like I'm always dreaming and journaling and writing stuff down and everything. But you also have to like crumple it and throw it away sometimes and like let what's coming to you come to you and like not block it. Because if you're like too like, this is my dream, this is what I need to do, there might be opportunities coming. I got I was in a Ricky Martin music video. I got that from being in a yoga class and actually taking a yoga teacher training. Like you just never know who's around, or you just have to be a little bit more open than just directly pointing eyesight on like your own dream.
Yeah, I agree with you, because it's good to some extent to have some tunnel vision on your goal, but occasionally there's a ball that gets thrown right in the middle, and you have to be able to recognize, wait a minute, there's something over here for me. And sometimes that's the direction you need to go. That's like the universe saying, no, I want you to go this way, go this way. You're like, okay.
Yeah.
And fluid and flexible, to open to trying things that maybe wasn't part of the original plan. I mean, heck, business of dance wouldn't have existed if life didn't throw me ball curves. And thanks to COVID too, I was stuck at home going, what do I do?
Yes. Yeah.
I
think COVID birthed a lot of beautiful things.
It did. And the time it was a horrible time. It was very challenging because, it forced me to be creative, because I'm stuck at home and all I know is dance, and I can't do events, and I can't teach, and I can't choreograph, and I can't do the Hollywood Summer Tour. And I'm like, but what can I do? I just have a computer.
Yeah.
And I'm home, and here we are. Business of Dance is born out of that creative frustration as well. So,
exactly.
All right. Well, I would love to give our Business of Dance mentees an opportunity to ask you a question. All right. Serena, you are first.
Hi, my name is Serena Wright. I'm 19 years old from a small town in Texas. My question for you today is, did you ever have a vision of yourself where you are today when you were younger?
Yeah. So I definitely like always envisioned myself in the industry in some way. Like I would always make up, I mean, probably a lot of you guys did this, like making up dances in your bedroom. But further than that, like I just always, like my brother was a singer, and I don't know, I always would like envision his tour when I was like really young, and I didn't really know what that was yet. So I think when I was really young, I had this feeling of like, I know I need to be doing something greater, and I wanted to get out of my city really bad because of that. But I only could really envision like being in a music video, and then like I couldn't like think farther than that really. So I think I had this feeling of wanting to do something bigger than me, and like bigger than I could even imagine at the time, but I didn't know what exactly that was besides a music video. And then I was like, we'll see what happens after that.
Well, it goes back
Thank
to
you so much.
exposure. You didn't know what you didn't know. I mean, you're
Exactly.
under bay. Right?
Yeah.
Creative director is not a career path that anybody knows what probably that means. Like,
yes. Yeah.
You must be like small town hero that everybody's like, she's the girl in Hollywood, because
Oh my God.
people probably don't even know what your job means. Like,
No. Yeah. Every time I go home, they're like, wait, what do you do? Like, I'm like, it's okay. I used to get frustrated at that. I'm like, know what I do. And I'm like, never mind. It's fine. It's fine.
Well, you can just see my work on Coachella.
Yeah. Like,
Grammys. No big deal. All right. Thank you so much, Serena, for your question. Next up, we have Michaela. Introduce yourself, and what is your question?
Hi, I'm Michaela. I'm 17 years old from Virginia. And my question is, out of all the pieces you've designed, do you have a favorite?
Good question. I actually do. I made these pants. They're called the Infinity pants. And when I made them, like I wanted them to be really comfy, and I tried them on, and you feel like you're not wearing anything, but they are the most complimented piece. Like I walk around and like this old lady will be like, I love your pants. And then this like young teenage boy will be like, those are dope pants. Like they're just like a compliment attraction. So they're my favorite because I just wear them when I need a little confidence boost. And now I've made them in different colorways, and people like continue to pull them and rent them and buy them. So those are kind of like my staple piece for Valente.
Love that.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Michaela. All right, next up we have Kelly.
Hi, my name is Kelly Bontini. I'm 23 years old and I'm from New Jersey. My question is specifically about how you design for each girl in KATSEYE. I know it's probably a little bit more production side, like they have a vision. So how much do you get to enforced? Do they get like a little say? Or I don't know, just walk us through the process.
Yeah, for sure. So with the usual process, they'll come to me, the stylist will come to me with a vision. And so when I'm doing like mostly the dancers, they'll come to me with what KATSEYE is already going to be wearing. And then I get to design completely off that with what the dancers are going to be wearing. But they usually have certain like stipulations, like sometimes they want them to be in shorts, or they want baggy pants, or they want a bodysuit, or they'll kind of give me a little bit direction there of like based on where they're performing. And then with like their KATSEYE specifically, when I did their Gov Ball jackets, that was really fun because I knew like what colors each of them were wearing. But I got to design this like jacket that went with their look. And for that one, I just had fun with it. And then we put their individual languages on the back, which was fun. So yeah, I get a little bit of direction, and then I give them a design. And sometimes that goes back and forth like 2 or 3 times until the team's like, okay, this is it. Now you can get started. And then the whole process, I'm also getting things approved. So here's here's like 10 fabric options. Which one do we like? Here's the buckle. Here's the, so I'm going out and grabbing all the materials and also in communication with the stylist like the entire time.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Kelly. Next up, we have Evelyn.
Hi, I'm Evelyn Richer. I'm 11 years old and I live in Ottawa. My question is, what's one piece of advice you would give to someone?
I love that. I think my biggest advice, and something I have taken to heart really seriously, would be to go out and make your own opportunity. So if something isn't happening for you and you're like, oh, I want to be doing this, you can like be proactive about making your own opportunities, whether that even be like recording yourself and doing your own dance videos to like get yourself out there, or making a connection with somebody and taking their class. Like there's like just being very proactive and making your own opportunities instead of just waiting, sitting back and like twiddling your fingers like what's coming to me.
I love that. And it is so true. Because a lot of times dancers are so used to waiting for the opportunity, waiting for the agent to call, waiting for the casting director to give them the audition. But sometimes you just don't need to wait for permission. You just need to create the opportunity you want to do. You want to be on a music video? Create your own. Go call with an unknown independent artist that's looking for dancers and looking for a choreographer. They want you just as much as you want them. And find a videographer who's looking to build their portfolio, and they need content for their demos and they don't have subjects, and you can provide that subject, being the dancer and bringing your friends to collab because they need footage for their demo reel, and boom, everybody just collabed and you didn't spend a dime, and then you shot on location and you're guerrilla styling it at the streets of LA.
I mean, that's literally how we started our production company. I was like, I need more stuff for my visa. Let's start a production company. Like that's how it started. So
I love that. Hopefully, Evelyn, you're only 11, but you have a thing called a phone. Angelica and we didn't have phones at 11, I don't think, with phone photos and videos. You can create content now. You got the internet and you have a world audience and you have a camera in your pocket 24/7. You can create anything you want, which is pretty cool.
It's crazy.
It is crazy because we didn't have. I remember I was on tour with Earth, Wind, and Fire. I think it was 2002. And Japan is like a million light years ahead of North America when it comes to technology. And you could take photos on the phone and they were black and white. And I just thought it's like, you could take a photo on a phone. Now look where we are.
No, it's crazy. I'm like kind of happy I didn't have TikTok in high school or in elementary school, because I probably would have been posting cringy videos. Now they're nowhere to be found. All my bedroom dances, which I kind of wish I can find some.
For good old time's sake, it'd be for a good laugh and a good smile. That would be.
Yeah.
I love that. Well, before we let you go, do you have any final words?
Honestly, I'm just proud of you guys for even just being in the business of dance right now. Like you said, look at yourself and be grateful and proud of yourselves, because you're taking a great step, because you're learning the the mind part. And like, to me, like that is the most important. So like keep just engulfing and trying to learn as much knowledge as you can, especially from amazing people like Menina, because it truly, truly helps you. Because when you step foot into those worlds, you have such a bigger up advantage than a lot of those people that are coming in that are just like, I just want to dance. So learning the business side is amazing. And I think that's what I fell in love with, is like the business side of things. So I'm excited for you guys. And yeah, just work your butts off and you got it. There's never a dream too big. So just keep dreaming.
Well, you've definitely proven to us that you can do whatever you want. You set your heart out to. And thank you for your kind words. And dancers, show her some love. Show her how we do it. Give you some virtual hearts. So proud of you, because you were literally in their seat. Really not that long ago. I mean, yes, it was a long time ago, but it wasn't that. I mean, it was over a decade ago.
Yeah.
But you had a big dream. You're from a small town, and you did the thing, and more. I think you even expanded even beyond what. Because fun fact, dancers, the last time I saw her, she was assisting me during the Hollywood Summer Tour. I don't even remember what year it was, doing the photo shoots and the demo reel shoots. And we literally just did that 3 days ago in the same building.
Crazy. That's crazy. And I think, I was helping like style the people. And I think I had to end up leaving because I got like a styling gig or something. So it's.
Yes. You were helping the dancers before they were getting their photos taken, like making sure that, their look was good before they went to camera. So that was like the seed before it just really started to take off.
For sure. Yeah.
You were proactive though. And that's one thing I will say. Don't be afraid to ask for what you want. You wanted behind the scenes experience. You wanted on-set experience. You wanted a letter of reference. So you're like, hey, what can I do to help you so you can help me? And
yep, absolutely.
And if you closed mouths don't get fed. If you don't ask for what you want, how are people supposed to know how to help you? I can't write the letter for you unless you ask.
Exactly. And that's why our international people, Canadians, you will learn that with the O1 process. And it's the best skill set. You just have to ask and put yourself out there, because otherwise there's no way you're going to get the visa. So you have to, even if you're like nervous at first or nervous, I mean, it's always nerve-wracking, like talking to big choreographers or anything, but you have to just ask, you have to do it to get the visa. So it really breaks you out of your shell.
Absolutely. Well, what is the best place for people to connect with you and also to find your designs?
Yeah, I mean, I'm on Instagram all the time. My Instagram's my first and last name, Angelica Valente, and then _. And then my clothing brand and my production company's in my bio of my personal page. And also my website for my clothing brand and website for my production company are both in my bio as well. So you can find everything on there. And I'm on TikTok too, just for fun.
I love it. And on Facebook, because I think that's how I reached out to you, because I didn't have your information.
Yeah, that kind of goes automatically. So I'm like, I have to check Facebook more often.
Well, it was how we communicated, I think, more in the past. Well, that's how I connected with you back in the day.
Yes. And that's why I was probably so like bad at communicating when you just reached out this time. I'm like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I never go on here.
We're still Facebook friends from way back when.
Hey.
You expect some DMs. I'm sure you'll get some messages from our mentees here. Dancers, I hope that
I welcome it all.
We expanded your mind to think bigger than just being the performer, and that there's so many other career opportunities out there beyond just being the performer. And there's nothing wrong with being the performer, but just know that there's other lanes and other avenues that you can explore. So what's next? Is there anything else lined up?
Literally, yeah, I'm going back into the studio tomorrow to do their tour skirts, and then the dancers' looks will come after that. And yeah, and then we have some productions we're doing with my production company too. So
no big deal. Always on the go. Always busy.
Yes.
Well, so great to see you after it's been a hot minute, a few years, and I love that you're doing what you love and you've carved out your own path. And I hope that dancers, you feel inspired to create your own and carve out your own path, because there is no one way to do this thing called entertainment.
Absolutely. And thank you for having me on, and thank you for continuing to just give back. You're always giving back to the community. So it's so amazing to see. And yeah, let's stay connected now.
Absolutely. See, that isn't that weird how like dancers, one day I might be hiring you guys so you guys can share your story on the podcast.
Exactly.
I love it. Well, thank you again, Angelica. Bye.
And that concludes another episode of the Business of Dance podcast.
We hope you found today's conversation insightful and gained valuable knowledge.
Be sure to join us next time for more inspiring interviews with top professionals in the dance industry.
If you enjoyed today's episode, please subscribe to The Business of Dance on your favorite platform and take a moment to leave a review. Your feedback is greatly appreciated.
This podcast is brought to you by the Business of Dance online mentorship program to help aspiring professional dancers create their dream dance careers.
Thank you for listening. Until next time.